Nearly every complex animal on Earth reproduces sexually, and evolutionary biologists have spent well over a century trying to fully explain why, since sex is expensive, slow, and inefficient compared to simply cloning yourself. One microscopic animal appears to have ignored that rule entirely. The Bdelloid rotifer hasn't reproduced sexually in an estimated 60 million years, and researchers still don't have a complete explanation for how it's gotten away with it. Bdelloid rotifers are microscopic freshwater animals, smaller than a millimeter, found in ponds, damp soil, and even the thin film of moisture on moss. And at first glance, they look unremarkable. Simple, wheel-like feeding structures pulling in food, a body plan that hasn't changed dramatically in tens of millions of years. What sets them apart lives entirely in their genetics. Every Bdelloid rotifer ever studied is female. No males have ever been documented in this group at any point in any of the more than 450 known species. Reproduction happens entirely through a process called parthenogenesis, where unfertilized eggs develop directly into new individuals genetically identical to their mother, generation after generation, with no genetic mixing from a second parent at any point in the cycle. That alone would be unusual, but not unheard of. Several animal groups reproduce this way at least occasionally. What makes Bdelloid rotifers a genuine puzzle is how long they've apparently been doing it exclusively. Researchers analyzing Bdelloid genomes have found none of the genetic signatures typically left behind by sexual reproduction, and fossil and molecular evidence points to an asexual lineage stretching back roughly 60 million years, making Bdelloids by far the oldest confirmed case of long-term, exclusively asexual reproduction in the animal kingdom. Here's why that number matters so much to evolutionary biologists specifically, and it's the reason this obscure microscopic animal keeps showing up in serious scientific literature. Sexual reproduction exists, according to leading evolutionary theory, largely because it shuffles genetic material between individuals, helping populations adapt faster to changing environments and stay ahead of fast-evolving parasites and diseases. Asexual lineages, without that constant genetic shuffling, are generally predicted to accumulate harmful mutations over time and eventually decline, a pattern researchers sometimes refer to as an evolutionary dead end. Bdelloid rotifers should have hit that wall a very long time ago. Instead, they've diversified into hundreds of distinct species and spread successfully across freshwater environments worldwide, thriving in a way the standard model says shouldn't really be possible without sex somewhere in the equation. Part of the explanation researchers have identified involves an extraordinary backup system. Bdelloid rotifers can survive complete desiccation, drying out almost entirely and entering a dormant state that can last years, and when they do, their DNA is frequently shattered into fragmented pieces in the process. Rather than dying from that damage, Bdelloids have an unusually effective DNA repair system that reassembles the fragmented genome once conditions improve and the animal rehydrates. Some researchers believe this desiccation and repair cycle may function as an accidental substitute for some of the genetic benefits sex normally provides, occasionally incorporating small changes and corrections during the repair process itself. There's an even stranger piece to this story. Genetic studies of Bdelloid rotifers have found segments of DNA embedded in their genome that appear to have come from entirely unrelated organisms, bacteria, fungi, even plants, acquired through a process called horizontal gene transfer, something usually associated with bacteria far more than animals. Researchers suspect that the same repair process the rotifer uses to fix its own shattered DNA after desiccation may occasionally stitch in foreign genetic material by mistake, accidentally incorporating useful traits from completely different species into the rotifer's own genome over time, an alternate route to genetic diversity that has nothing to do with mating at all. None of this fully resolves the puzzle, and researchers studying Bdelloid rotifers are candid that a complete explanation for their long-term asexual success still doesn't exist. What's clear is that this animal has somehow avoided a fate. Biology's own theory says should have caught up to it tens of millions of years ago, using some combination of extreme damage repair and genetic material borrowed from species it isn't even related to. If an animal can borrow working genes from a completely different species just by accident, and thrive doing it for 60 million years without ever needing a mate, what does that actually tell us about how essential sex really is to long-term survival? Tell me your theory in the comments, and subscribe to NatureCrest for more deep dives into the animal kingdom's most extraordinary evolutionary puzzles.